Well, good morning everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Hey, today I'm going to do a little speaker swap, a little door speaker swap in the Tacoma back here. This is kind of a remod. What we've got, and I've already done the driver's side, the procedure is exactly the same, is I've taken out the OEM speaker. You can see this little dinky magnet, this lightweight, nothing to it speaker. And I am replacing it with a kicker speaker, a much better speaker. The sound difference is pretty darn good. You can see the little magnet size back here as compared, a heck of a difference. So I'm going to set you up, I'm going to show you how to replace these. In this case, I'm putting the OEMs back in and taking the kickers out for the 2020. Hopefully it fits. Now, first off, the tools you need, and you don't need much. You need a couple of trim tools, pretty simple. You need the old 10mm ratchet, pretty simple. And then Phillips screwdriver, magnetic tip is always best. And then some little flathead screwdriver to be able to take the clips off of the connectors that we have to remove from the speakers and the door controls. So let's get to it. Okay. First thing that we've got to do is remove this little trim piece here. It's pretty easy, it just pulls off. I actually got ahead of myself and already pulled it off, but it just pulls right out of here. You guys can see there are these little clips. And here's a little tip for you. When you pull this off, these little clips are going to stay here in the holes. And when you go to put this back on, you got to fit these little nibs here into these clips in the holes. Just pull these out, put them back on the piece, and then when you slip it in, it's just a little pressure thing and it'll grab right in and it makes your life much simpler. The next up is this little nub right here in the corner. It's a little push pin kind of thing. I just take something blunt and just push on the little area right in the middle. I'll show you that when we get it off, but you just push it in. You can probably hear it snap there. And then just pull this out. The little nub I'm talking about, it's this little area right here. That pushes in and then this whole pin just pulls out. When you put it back in, go ahead and push that little nub out so it's sticking out like that. Put it back in the hole and then push that little nub in. And that expands these edges here and will hold in the pin and thus your door trim. So we got that done. Next up, we need to remove the little piece inside the door handle right here. This little piece pops out. Just use a trim tool for that. And behind it is a screw. So we want to go ahead and pull that. Again, that just pops out just that easily. There you go. Set that aside. And then behind it, right back in here, is a Phillips screw. Go ahead and pop that out. Pretty easy to do. Like so. Set that aside. Now you want to pay attention because that screw is different than the one down here, right down here, that we're going to take out next. So you want to make sure that you put the right screw back in the right place. It's easy to tell because this one has a bigger head on it. Okay, so we're going to pop this little carpet piece out in here. This is where a little tool comes in handy. You don't need it, but it just makes it easier to grab onto this. Set that aside. And like I said, there is a Phillips screw down in here. Go ahead and pull that out. Not a lot of room to fit your hand in there. Let's go ahead and pull that out. There we go. You got that out. Okay, let's continue on. Now we need to remove the control panel right here. That is just held on by little push pins again. You can use a trim tool for this if you can get it over the edge. You have to be very careful because even with a trim tool, this can tend to crack or chip or whatever. I really find my fingernails are best if I can get them right underneath the edge. So we're going to try the trim tool first. There you could hear it pop a little. And then just fingers, and that should do it. Kind of pulls up and forward just a little. There, like so. And behind it then you have these little connectors. Obviously you're going to want to remove those. Mine If you guys can see, actually have green marks on them so you know which way to put them in. Pretty simple. Let's go ahead and take off, I guess the one on the outside first. Just has a little push hoochie in it. Pulls off just like that, pretty easy. And then this next one should be another little push type device. I believe it's right down here. Yeah, and it just pulls off like that. That's it, then this is free. Set that aside. And that's all we should need to do. Now, all you have to do is grab a hold of the edges of the door card here, pull out gently, and I would start probably inside. It seems to me it works better if you start on this side towards the front of the door as opposed to the rear back there, and just gently give it a tug and go all the way around, and then the door card just lifts straight up. Now, once you do that, there are two cables in here, one for the lock and one for the door handle. When I had done this originally, I actually removed those cables. You can check that video back if you want to see how to do that. They're very simple. They just pull out of a little connector in there. But I discovered today I don't need to do that. There's enough room in the cable that if you set like a 5-gallon bucket down beside your door, you can pull the door card up and just balance the card on that bucket, and then you don't have to remove the cables, which the first time I did it, to be honest, I put them on backwards. So I went to lock the doors and it just went brrr. It didn't work because I had them connected incorrectly. So I'm just going to set it down on the bucket like I did the other side. That worked really well, and not have to do that. So let me scoot you back a little. You guys can see what I'm talking about there. You can see the bucket and the card there, hopefully. There we go. So let's go ahead and pop this off. Again, just starting on the inside edge. You heard it. It's just that simple. And, of course, one of the little clips fell out. You want to make sure you keep track of these and just stick them back in. It's pretty easy. That's it. And like I said, just sit the card aside. So let's just kind of balance the door card right there. You guys can see like so. And then we're going to come in here and take off the, or take out the speaker. Let me get you set up for that. Hopefully I have everything I need in here. There. I think we do. Okay. Get you on the speaker there. You can see the kicker speaker right down here. That's obviously what we're removing. I did tape this up a little bit because the wires were a little long, so I'm going to remove this black tape. It was mine. It didn't come that way. And you can see it didn't really stick very well, so lesson for the future, use something different. Let's go ahead and disconnect the speaker wire. Just pulls out with a little clip on the side. And then we have 10mm bolts, 4 of them, 2 up here and 2 down here. Let's go ahead and remove those. Not really much holding it in here after this. And that's it. That removes, in this case, the aftermarket kicker speaker. So now we're going to put the OEM version back in. Set that aside under here. Grab the OEM version. It's pretty simple. There is a little clip here that fits underneath the lip of the door here. That's it. Otherwise, you just screw it back in. Like so. That's it. That puts the speaker back in. All we have to do is connect the wire. Pretty simple. Just push it back in. And our speaker is reconnected. So if we were to turn the truck on now, it would play music. Now let's go ahead and get the door card back in and get everything else connected back up. This is so much simpler to do, leaving the cables here connected. I much prefer this method over what I did before, and if I end up doing it again on the off-road I'm going to get, I'll be doing it the same way. So the door card just hangs, so think of it that way. Make sure you get it well hung. Right back up here on the edge, if you will. Just put that in. It sits in just like that. That's it. Before you go any further, make sure you have your wires exposed here so you don't get this thing all tightened down and then your wires are behind the door card somehow. So once that's done, we're going to go ahead and just pop it back in. That's just a fist and a little bit of muscle. Not much. So here we go. That's all it takes. Doesn't take a lot. So now we're done with our bucket. We're going to kick the bucket out of the way. Get you guys a little bit closer. And we're going to go ahead and put our little control panel back in. Again, pretty simple to do. All we have to do is reconnect the wires, and in my case, Toyota was nice enough to put a little green mark on the connector and the outlet or the plug it goes into, so you just match them up. You can't mess them up, they're different sizes, so that's pretty simple. Put this one in. Probably should have put this one in first, it's shorter. Snap that in. You guys hopefully could hear that. Now all we have to do is, oops, put it in the right way. Match the holes back up that this thing goes in, and that's pretty easy. And then push it back down. There you go. That puts the trim piece back in. Now we got to go ahead and put our little push tab back in over here. Let's do that. Again, just leave the end sticking out. That way you can just slip it back in and then push that end down. Makes it really simple. That takes care of that. Let's put the screws back in. Remember, the bigger screw head, this one, goes in the door car or inside the pull handle or the pull slot, whatever you want to call it. There you go. Put our little piece of carpet back in there. That's one of the easiest parts of this whole thing. Put our screw back in here. Not that this is difficult by any means. I think anybody could do this. I'd give this about I'd give it about a 2 out of 5. 2 being pretty darn easy. Let's go ahead and put our little trim piece back inside the door handle area. That just pops in, hopefully. There, you guys could hear it. That's all that takes. And then, finally, our little trim piece up here on the side, right up here, that just pops right in. That should be pretty easy, I think, hopefully, if all goes well. Okay, that's it. Got this thing pushed back in. It was just being a little difficult. I don't know why. It's fine now. But anyway, it's done. I tested everything. Everything works perfectly, just like it did before. Again, the reason I did this is I want to take those kicker speakers over there with me to the next truck. It really does make an improvement to the sound system, and I think it's going to be really great in the new Tacoma. So anyway, that's the little remod, putting the OEM speakers back in the Tacoma. Leave a comment down below. Did you think that was very difficult? Nah, not too bad. Again, a 2 out of 5. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a great day. Bye.